I'm on the system, but probably maybe it might take a little bit of long. I just want to see what you have on your side pending. Maybe that one we can, I think, sort it out because maybe Yvonne, are you there?
Yes.
You could check on. I think this might have been the 2015 syllabus, or you can check if they have already fulfilled all the units that she needs to do, so that then we see whether if of course she has fulfilled all the units that she needs to do, then according to her syllabus, then you can eliminate. But are you able to check from your side?
Yes, I will. Let me check. Let me check.
Okay. Yeah, Afandi, I can see that. Okay. Yeah, I think then maybe let me just sort it out by saying that for that specific group, I think there is also another student who I think there might be 3 or so people who are not on this current syllabus, plus the exempt. I think let me just we'll check on to Yvonne can check and then get like to see whether you actually really need to do. Maybe if you had already done all the other units that were required, then there might be no need. But I think for that one, let's address it individually because maybe it doesn't affect everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Then someone else is asking about kindly address us returning to school physically in November. Okay, so this is Naomi. Naomi.
Hello?
Yeah, you can be able to repeat it orally.
Okay, I wanted to ask about us having to go back to school in November physically, considering we'll just have 1 month and some of us live far. So does that mean we have to move with everything and rent a place just for 1 month, then come back home? Like, is there a way that we can still continue with online classes?
Yeah, I thank you very much actually for asking that, because that's one of the questions that probably I should have been responding to. So we had our council meeting yesterday. First time I was having a meeting that is physical. Now, although we have already put everything, as I said, I think even yesterday, we were just able to meet conveniently without any much problem, of course, with mouse, with masks and all that. But I think so. But the resolution is that for your group, the ones that are the pre intake, you will go on with the. I think I had hinted that, but I was not sure that time. But you will go on with the classes and finish your semester in. I think you will finish just before Christmas. Now, the only other thing, because I think by December, more or less, if all of us can finish the course December, then we can, if we are at home, maybe we are up country and all that kind of aspects out of Nairobi, then you can spend with the family in December, but then they are going to do a communication, but then which will then the proposal is that, of course, given the fact that they have already all the other universities have actually opened, so we are trying to monitor to see what happens and how this issue is coming. But our hope that things will have normalized. So we don't want to unnecessarily open too early. So the classes are not going to be interfered with until December, when you will have finished, and then most likely in January, then you might come to do the exams on campus. Then after that, probably you can be able to finish, because I think it will not make economical sense to come in November and then you pack your things in December, you go back home, and then you come back in January. I think that will be too much. So, and then it's not necessary. So we are seeing that all classes will go on remotely. I don't know whether that makes you happy and comfortable. Naomi?
Yes, it's okay.
Fine.
That's okay.
That's okay. Then we can go to Julie.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, I have a question concerning Naomi's issue.
Yes.
I would like to request you as our dean to communicate early enough. For example, I have gotten you say that we might be going back to school to do exams. So I would appreciate feedback from you guys, so that personally I'm not in Nairobi. I would like to arrange myself if I'm coming to Nairobi to do the exams and what have you. I would like to know the logistics. So kindly communicate to us early enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we will try as much as possible to do the communication. So I think they have to do the I think that's normally done from the university wide, but then of course I think the earlier we communicate this aspect. So what for sure I am trying to say is that it is certain that you are not going to come in November. The classes will go on still up to December, and then you finish the semester. And then if you can start planning on the January, which is also the other as of now, that is what is agreed. So I'm going to meet all the other groups basically and inform them there. So what has been agreed is that then in January, at least, I think the way it is going, unless anything happens to reverse the situation the way it has been, but I think so that the current position is that you will come and do the exam only in January. Then after that, I think things will be. So if you can, because I think between now and January, probably that is 2 months. So the assumption is that even those who are using hostels and so on, they will have, because if we ask you to come in November, we are not sure even whether the hostels are back or whatever and so on. And then that we won't give you a notice like the way the CS gave to the schools to open on Monday. So that's project defense. No, the project defense will still do it from remotely, from the whatever. But the only thing is that you will be able to do that. You have to put on your camera, just like the way we did the other exams, because I think it's not necessary to be able to come in a physical manner. unless now we want to basically ensure that the person who is presenting is the same, so which we have the modalities of getting to do. Shannon?
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so for me, I have a concern. You've mentioned that we'll be most probably next year we'll be back to on campus to do the exams, but
Yes.
I beg to differ. Because like we're closing, I guess 1 week to Christmas, and then we are supposed to resume for the exams like the second week of January, if I'm not wrong, around 6th about. So like that's about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's usually the mental disposition of most of the students from even what I've heard from my friends, like after doing online classes, then coming to do physical exams, it's not like the kind of mental preparedness won't be the same as if we had learned on campus and then having physical exams as well. So I think there's going to be that disconnect. People might really not perform as well because of the kind of now just for coming from online learning, then having to come do physical exams, because the kind of intensity that's usually there during the physical exams might not be the same as when you're having the online exams, because you're doing it remotely and you're studying alone. So I think you should consider that into consideration before telling all of us to come back to school for on-site exams. We'd rather finish with if we are doing online learning, we'd rather do the online exams as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That could yeah, those are kind of probably, yeah, it's good. We could take that into consideration. Actually, there's two different lines of thought. So the complication is actually on the. So the assumption is that you will have more or less, we will have come back to normalcy, because we have a group that actually is going to start probably the exams in November. So, or I think late first week of December or something like that. So the thing is that we will be studying. So, but if the situation will have come back to normal, then unless now maybe you are requesting that you be given more time to settle down, or because I think there's also some complications in terms of when do you need to come. If you, for instance, the people who are outside the country, then they need to do the quarantine, the self-quarantine period and all that kind of aspect. So I think those are the details of the protocol. So if you feel like probably the exams will be closed and you need to have a stabilization period, then that could happen. But I think you all know how complicated it is, especially from the lecturer's point of view. You see, you did the exams in August, but up to now, you have not gotten the results because of the processing of that, reading 100 and something scripts and all that kind of aspect. So, and then and then we are also trying to remove also the perception that probably the outside world might be having of the online exams and all that. So if the situation will have normalized, yes, I agree with you that probably it's not good. It's might not be the best psychologically, but I think we'll try to weigh the better the better evil, I can say, so that then whatever that will give us the better results in terms of this. So what we are anticipating is that there won't be any issue. But if it is an issue of maybe, then there will be bigger spacing, in that then you will get a bit accustomed to the exams with time, because remember, since we are going to on campus and we need to do social distancing, then the length of the exams period will be more than we ordinarily do. But everything, but that is the assumption that basically they are based to come up with that decision. But in case it changes, then we can hear the same view, because I think there are some people also, especially for international students, is quite tricky. So we are trying to see what can be able to be done. But for this one, for now, that's what the tentative plan is. But if things change, then you'll get to be informed through the whatever. But I think it will be good if maybe we psychologically also start preparing that is what will happen. You do an exam that you are writing. In any case, that's what we did for us, for us in our faculty, because you are writing normal, although from your desk, but then from your desk at home, but you are writing basically using the normal thing, so it's not typing and all that. So anyway, that's all I can say for now. Maybe yeah. Good. I don't know whether Regina, you have anything to add so that I can end. I know that I think you have something else after this or something like that.
Thank you, Dr. Rero. I really don't have anything else to add from the discussion. I hope the students feel we've addressed the concerns as much as they were raised. And yeah, we continue working together during this semester. And they're welcome to give their feedback. There's still the form that I'd sent previously. You're welcome to fill it. I will send it on email for you to give us any written form of feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So thanks for sparing this time. Yvonne, maybe you have something. There is something that we need to get back to Fandi on the units and especially also the exempt group. I can see a hand there. This is Mtaba.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you? I hope you're doing well.
I should be doing well, but I'm a bit tired.
Okay. Sorry about that. So I have. So you keep saying that that based on assumptions that everything is going to be well, but we still think that since the cases keep rising, do you think it's still going to be okay? That we will be able to like just resume just for exams, because the whole year we've been doing online, and as Shannon just said that the mental capacity for doing exams in school is not going to be the same as doing them online, you know. So because and you say that the decisions is a decision being made to do the exam in physically, or we're still deciding on that?
So tentatively for now, I think so what I was trying to say is that unless really things change differently, because I think this is being influenced by the fact that even schools have now resumed and so on. But so the situation, I think it's coming to normalcy. But if things change, for now, I think that is a tentative decision that has been made, so that then if you can be able to, I think it took a bit of time for us to adjust, for all of you to adjust to online. I think it's going to take a similar amount to adjust back to the old system.
Yeah,
So if we can be able to, now that at least if we can prepare for the worst here, I'm calling it coming to campus and conducting the exams there, so that
yes.
if the easier option, the one of doing it remotely, if like things don't work out and then the university decides to say that even this particular examination session will also be remotely, then you will be in a good, you will not have lost anything. But if you prepare for the physical opening, I think that will be good, because then you will have prepared for the worst. But as I said, that is a conversation that we are also going to have with your parents. We are going to have a town hall with all of you and all that. Then, so that then we can be able to, if you can be able to air those reservations that you have. But from our side, I think the complication of offering a remote exam, if you have an option, because you see that in August we didn't have really an option. It was going to be very complex because of the borders were not open and all those kind of aspects. And then how do you get to there? I would say that if we can prepare ourselves in terms of, like, if we have been staying in hostels or something like that, then if we can be able to prepare from now up to, in any case, majority of you, I think, will come to Nairobi for job or whatever, so that then that will be able to be sorted out. But I hear you. So the communication will come out. So I guess your representatives will air that, because this is something, is not, it's touching for the entire university, so you can be able to air that. But I think what I will request you is if we can prepare for that coming back, so that then we can also continue living the normal life. Because now I think, as you can see, there's no given time that we'll have a 0 cases in terms of that. Roseanne?
Okay. You've said that there are some complications that prevent us from opening in November. Like it makes financial sense to, continue online classes, but then it's the exact same situation that is going to be there when we're actually supposed to do physical exams. If there are complications when teachers have to come to class to teach, why is there no complications when we actually have to go to school to do the exams? I feel like if we're doing online classes, we should definitely do online exams, because you can't use one excuse for not opening schools and then all of a sudden when you want to do when you prefer that you do exams online, those problems are no longer exist. Or what do you think?
May I take?
Yeah, let me hear again from Shannon, so that I can respond to both.
Okay.
Okay, so mine is just a suggestion, because I think what Roseanne and Vegetable says makes sense. And ideally, we are all 4th years, and it won't make sense for us to just come to school for 1 month to do physical exams and then we just go home like that. Because, like you've said, there are also international students involved. They might be in their home country, and the cost they need to cover just for 1 month, and it doesn't make economic sense. So if November for the 4th years, or specifically, or maybe the other group, okay, no, but specifically for the 4th years, I think it would be better you just make the decision in advance, because the way things are going with the vaccine, I think before then things would have been better. So it's rather we'd go back to school earlier from November, then sit from an exam maybe in January. I think that would be better than just coming to school to do for fourth year specifically. Yeah, so maybe you can consider that as well.
Yeah, so I think it's some of the. I think majority in terms of the opening, as you can rightfully get from what the way I'm answering the question is really. It's a negotiation. It's something that I could we has to be considered from the holistic point of view. So the way you are saying that probably the why are we not so for fourth years, why are we not, or the continuing students for the April intake, why are we not opening in November for the fact that we are not for the fact that it might not make economic sense or something like that. But what I need to clarify is that we don't consider it very like, for instance, even the classes that, because there are some classes that will be conducted actually on campus. So what we are doing is, what we are proposing is what has been proposed is hybrid. So where you have like a class is going on, especially for especially for the semester that is going to start in November, so that then you have a class going on. Those students who can manage to come are able to come, but then the streaming is still on online. So it's like an hybrid system. Then for the April intake, what you're saying is that you can come to the university, yes. So you can report. That's why I'm saying that especially for international students, for people who are out of Nairobi, probably you might want to come earlier and prepare the thing, and then you can continue getting the streaming of the classes through in the university and so on, so that then you acclimatize with this kind of situation. But then this is going to be the new norm, where you'll have some classes going to be face to face. So those ones which mainly the majority will be on face to face, and then we'll utilize the technology now that we have seen it works actually, to have like what we are proposing here, the guest lecturers who come from wherever place, but they don't have to travel, and then you can get the same kind of experience. So that's what we are saying now. For the exam, what I was saying is that you need to consider it from the holistic point of view of the university. Basically, how that it's not just this group of 100 students that is doing the exam. If it was that case, then we will actually do. You see, we are going to have about 4,000 students doing the exams at that particular time, and to manage the online version, it becomes a bit tricky. It is easier for the physical one, but so that is what is on the right now. So what I was trying to say is that now that we are going into normalcy, if we can be able to start preparing earlier on in terms of that, just in case that is done. But I think the communication, for me, I think I was trying to maybe give you a rough idea or a tentative thing that will happen, but the official communication, I think, should be able to be able to clarify. But it's good that I give you the initial plan, and I have heard the way you have reacted, because you know what happens is that when you give me the information, then when you give me this kind of suggestions, then I also you go and now put those suggestions as if they were mine, and then that's the way we make normally the decision. But I don't know whether, Regina, you can clarify about the issue of coming back or not coming, because I think you are more you sit in the registrar's committee. That's
So I think what I wanted to add to this is that the university is really looking at a phased return, and we need to understand that there's the complication of different overlapping semesters. There are different groups. Exams are being used as a, how would I put it, as the best option to kind of test how life back on campus would be, because exams can be in a very controlled environment. You know, you can have the timetable and control the number of students who are on campus at a particular time, and then the rooms that they're sitting in, that there's social distance and such things. So examinations, even originally before this, the first exams that we did in April for the April semester online, we had tried to get the option of having the exam on campus, as much as the entire session had been done online. And you remember that the Ministry of Education had said Strathmore has a level of preparedness to have students on campus. It's just that we didn't get the final go ahead in terms of writing to have exams on campus, and your exams were delayed pretty much, but you had them online. So right now we're using exams, or rather the university is looking in a way that exams are the ones that you can get to try to get students on campus in a controlled environment, and then slowly have them out. And then there's also the complication of that you guys have already started a semester online. Some of you are out of the country. To suddenly tell you that in November, start attending classes on campus may be more complicated than to give you a notice of this is October, in January, expect to have exam on campus, so that those ones who are out of the country can plan to come back in and such things. So it's all in the model of looking, as the dean has said, holistically. What would work best? You know that you guys did exams online, but they were written exams where you'd write on paper and then you upload the copied scripts for your lecturers to mark. And these ones bring the complication. Do we print them? Do we mark them when they're online? When you come on campus, you'll be literally doing the same thing of writing the exams as you are doing online, but now you're at least in a position to just hand over your scripts as opposed to scanning them, handing them over, and then they're easier to mark and such things. So these are some of the considerations as we're seeing, looking at it holistically. It's not just simplifying that we're taking advantage that exams is the only thing that can bring you on campus. There are other groups who will come on campus from classes as of November, just not the September intake who have started an online semester. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing that probably that is normally a factor also is the regulator. You see that we had been given normally in any scenario, normally you have at least for the exams, they normally require even the people who do the distance learning. So the basic requirement is that at least the exams has to be done on campus. But then you saw the way we struggled with that idea until finally the regulator basically gave an okay for all the universities at this particular time to be able to offer the exams remotely. I think that could be possible for maybe this year, but I don't see them again. I think if we continue now doing remotely as before, then we might land ourselves into issues, because then, as I was saying, the perception of online. Of course, you guys have had a chance to see how online exams, especially the ones that we proctored, are done, and actually you can attest that it's not any different to the on campus. But that is not the perception that is there with the external entities that regulate us. So we don't want to also put. So we, as you can see, we have designed in a clever way, in that although we were instructed to recall all the fourth years in October. That was supposed to be last week, but then we have not done that. So we have said, let's see who can come actually at that particular point. But you see, there is an extent to which also the university can't be seen like it is not obeying what the government is saying. So those are some of the things that we need to also consider. But if there is a reason, there will be a reason, especially the medical part. If this logistics of basically coming into the country, which is what we used to have you the exams in remotely in August, if the logistics of movement, if the logistics of the way the virus behaves will demand that we can't have that on campus, then we will use that as the main reason, then do that. But you see, we can't go on doing our own things as Strathmore while if the government has if there is no grave reason as to why we, at least for the exam, maybe we can comply that. I see like that is the reason why we are trying to have the exams be done on campus, just to be able to also obey like obedient citizens of this country, and also of course not to have issues with the regulator. But all this, as Regina said, is probably if we can prepare for the worst, that is for the coming back. I think if things change and it is not able to, we are not able to conduct the exams in the university, then it will be, you will already have prepared anyway, and then you can be able to revert, because we have now about 2 months to basically try to 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months or something. So that's what I will say for that. But I think when the communication comes, we can still, if you still think that there is a risk and so on, as time goes on, then we can still discuss that, especially through your representatives.
Okay, I've understood where you're coming from, but then I just wanted to clarify on what I was saying. I was saying that for I think myself and a majority of the students, we were also prepared to come and learn on campus after the decision by the ministry was announced. Even parents were now preparing themselves on how to, plan to facilitate things like transport and rent, stuff like that. So like people were already prepared to come and learn on campus. The point was now coming to learn on campus. And from what Regina and yourself have said, you see, you're making a lot of assumptions. You're not sure how many are not in Nairobi among the international students. So I think most people are tired of learning online, and we want to come back to on campus. Maybe just for the field, and even for next year if we're going to have the on campus exam. So now the point is now for us to come and learn.
Actually, the lecturers are also, personally, I'm also tired of this online and so on. Yeah, but the tricky thing is that even if we were to open today, like even if we were to, first of all, we couldn't open and last week because the complication of, you see, if you are doing if you all of a sudden say that now all classes will be physical, then you see there is a complication of the people who are not in Nairobi, people who are out of the country and so on. And then we are not also sure, especially for those who are coming. I guess you are also coming. You are not in Nairobi, probably.
No, I'm in Nairobi myself.
You are in Nairobi, yeah. So for the people in Nairobi, I think it's quite easy because then you just need to probably get transport and then be able to come. But the people who are out of Nairobi, who are depending on hostels, as you all know, probably some of you who are living in the hostels, most of those hostels have closed down during this COVID because there was no income, and you guys must have picked your luggages and said, no, bye. I'm not going to pay for the months that I'm not living there. So then if we were to say that all the students now to come and be physically in campus in November, that would be very unrealistic because then remember the international school, the students have to do a COVID test 48 hours before they travel. And then when they reach Nairobi, they have to quarantine themselves for, I think normally it's 2 weeks. Okay. So that brings a lot of complication. That's why we prefer that people can come actually to campus. That's what we are proposing. Campus can be open, and then the registrar will give the schedule on who comes what time. There is one group that we want, the one that is starting a fresh semester, that is in November, first years only, which will then be, those ones can be able to start what we call an hybrid kind of. Again, you see, we can't mount all through the hybrid because you need to put more cameras and connections and all that so that then you can be able to stream. But for these other ones, they will, in November, they will be left with, I think, about 4 weeks. So 4 weeks to come for physical, then you have to break for December. For Nairobi people, of course, they will spend their December here, their Christmas here, and so on. So we don't want, I think that might be complicated. So we are allowing them, everyone to come, but of course, depending on how the schedule look like from the registrar. But then the classes can be continue being streamed online, so that then for those who are wherever they are, they can be able to capture that. But I think all these are views and are good views. So, normally you need a lot of permutations to be able to make a decision. Normally, the way we make a decision is, of course, we look at the common good and the majority. So the majority might be for this idea, but then we have a common good. So, like, for instance, when we look at the international students scenario, how do we do? They are the minority, but then we have to look at that for on the common good. So there's both the majority decision and the common good and the reality of what is inside. So I think we can consider all those issues. I think Regina, more or less, they are in the administrative committee. So they can try to consider that, and then as they come up with a solution before we can debate on it. Yeah.
Okay, just
Rosanna, you
one.
have something?
Sorry, can I just finish? Just one last comment. I think it's not as complicated as you may think, because you're talking about the issues about the hostel and transportation for those who are not in Nairobi and those who are also international students. But then I feel if the school was to do just a general survey of the number of students who are in Nairobi, those who are not in Nairobi, and give a timeline, because people can be able to arrange themselves. And for the hostels, I know there are quite a number which have started to open because students have started resuming campus. So it's just a matter of planning yourself. If you give a duration of 3-4 weeks, I'm sure by then people would have already planned themselves to come to Nairobi and get started, just to prepare themselves for school. And it isn't really that complicated considering all those factors, as long as you have the statistics. And I'm sure if there are 1 or 2 international students, they might not be maybe for a particular class, second year or first year, so you'll know how to it's not like every student will be in campus at the same time, but you're having phased reopening. Maybe first years can be there in the morning, then in the afternoon, second years also, something of the sort. And then with a flexible timetable, and there are 3 different buildings. So I think it's very much possible to achieve the social distancing and all those rules, and with a flexible schedule for all the students, as long as you prepare yourselves with the statistics and everyone can just, not everyone, as it's going to be something planned and people can easily access school. Yeah, as long as the plan is there, considering all that, nothing complicated.
Yeah, Shannon, you're putting it. Maybe. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So what you're proposing is that actually we could open. Maybe we start with the fourth year and stuff like that. But I think Regina and your team, probably you could you could consider that and then see if that is a possibility. But I'm sure they consider that in terms of the capacity to basically do that. So I don't know, in November, maybe that could be included. So some of those classes can be able to be conducted. But I don't know. This one I can't answer definitely, but maybe it's a feedback that we can try to consider. Jaden, you wanted to ask a question, or that hand
Hello?
was still? Yes.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask. I think I'm not sure whether this was said before, but I wanted to ask about the state of the units. Has one been removed or have they been reworked?
No, the units. What we said is that we will now give an option of basically we are replacing that web security with the industry based experience, so that then that becomes a little bit lighter, and then also it's more relevant to what you are supposed to do, and also it eliminates that redundancy. So that is the solution that we were able to come up with, because as you know, we can't push. We already made a mistake. I think by not scheduling the relevant units in that one unit in first semester. So I think that is like spilled milk. So and then we can't hold you for longer than it's necessary. So that's more or less what I had told the rest. Maybe you came late. Rosanne?
I have a question. Currently, are we allowed to use the library? Like, can we, like, currently this month, can we go to the library to sit there and do our work?
Regina, are we allowed? Myself, I have been meeting the librarian quite often every time I go there. But are we allowed? Are the students allowed?
There's still some restriction. I remember because there's a student who was at the gate. They had lost internet, and they got to Strathmore, and they had to get somebody from administration, from the school administration, to write for them a message to security to allow them on campus. So this is something that we'll discuss with the registrar tomorrow, because it has been coming up a lot. Tomorrow is Thursday. Yes, we're meeting at 10 tomorrow. The access to campus, if it can be made general such that security stops stopping students at the gate, because when you get there, the security are a bit more. And I guess if they get the instructions now directly from the university that now students can be allowed on campus, then we can tell you for sure you can go. But right now, if I tell you yes, you can go, you'll reach and then you'll probably be stopped at the gate.
Like, for instance, if they can be able to be allowed, like, for instance, we can have a student center, then they can be able to use the phase 2. I think we have quite a big space there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe the library also they can borrow, because the library has its own self restrictions in terms of they can keep distance quite easily without. And then even there are some, now that we are not using classes, there are some classes, so long as if they are marked and so on. Maybe that's a suggestion that you can hire it in the registrar's committee.
Okay.
Wambua?
I have a question. Will the fees be reduced because of the removed units? And has it also been removed like permanently, or has it like been restructured?
It's a replacement of the unit, not exactly removing. So we are just giving you a lighter kind of a more relevant content. Actually, we are borrowing it from what happens in other places. So then in terms of the costing, we don't really, it's quite, we don't really want to go into that kind of because it will carry the same credit and so on. So to convince the finance guys to drop that, of course. But of course, maybe Regina, you can comment on how you used to do how this kind of units costed.
Pardon?
How this kind of unit is costed. I guess it's the same. Is it the same amount as the normal
It
unit?
should be. Yes, it should be the same amount as the other unit.
And will it be like assessed, or is it just like attending?
I don't know, Dr. Orero, if you finalized on the assessment. The assessment should
Yeah,
be
the assessment, what we are trying to borrow from this is sort of like there is a minimum kind of assessment, but it's more structured towards your own benefit. But maybe when you get the when you have the first session next week, then you can be able to have more clarification in terms of what exactly how the assessment is going to be done, but there will be some level of assessment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see Kenan is just coming in. But then I think we can end there so that then you can be able to be ready to move to the next one. Thank you once more. Thank you very much for the meeting, for your understanding, for the support. So let's keep on supporting each other, and if there is any issue we can help, let's know. But just if there is anything that we are not doing well, maybe you can bear with us, and maybe you can let us know, and then we can try to improve. Something else related to the project, for those people who are being supervised by Madam Doreen, I think she's going on she got a baby, I think, was it yesterday or something? So I'm going to relieve, she's going on maternity leave, of course, for the next 3 months. So I might, I don't know how prepared she is, but I will, the option could be that I will remove you and put you into a different supervisor. That is, if she's probably not. I guess Regina is more qualified to comment on that, but I think if she's not available to continue supervising you, then I will shift you to another more available person. So that will happen, but I think I will update you on that. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.